you. Can everybody see the PowerPoint in front of them? If you would like to say a yes or a no.
Yes.
Yes, yes, brilliant. Thank
Yes.
you. Yeah, thank you,
Yes.
thank you. A couple of things for today. First of all, you can call me Raj, that's totally fine. We are going to be looking at the topic on globalization, as you can see in front of you, okay? Before we even start talking about globalization and the world and the economies, I would like to briefly give you the chance to introduce yourselves to me so I know who I'm talking to, and I can get to know your names, if that's possible. So if you could just one by one, just introduce yourselves, that would be great. I can't hear anybody. So are we all comfortable just typing in the chat window, I guess?
Hi, my name is Alyssa.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. So who's next?
My name is Kiton.
Lovely. Nice to meet you. I'm just going down the list of names here. I've got Steffi. Have I pronounced that right? Yep. And sorry, who's Kay? How would I pronounce your name? Sorry, Kay.
That's me.
That's me.
I'm Constantine, but it's easier to say Costa.
Constant. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. Anybody else want to say a quick hello before we start chatting? I know there'll be a couple of shy ones. Right. Okay. I won't force you. Right, so my name's Raj, as you can remember. So any questions, please point out while I'm talking. And I would like you to get as interactive as possible so we can get a flavor for the term globalization, so you get some idea of what we might be looking at in the subject in September. Okay, so a quick overview of the objectives for today. Okay, so we've had a bit of an introduction. You know my name and I know some of yours. Okay, we need to look at the term globalization, okay, and then we're going to try and discuss and understand globalization through the use of pictures, okay, and then to end it with, I'm going to discuss some positives and negatives of globalization, okay. I hope everybody's got a Word document open in front of them or a notebook or somewhere where you can scribble down a few words and your ideas in order to discuss it as a whole group. Okay, so brilliant. So I'm going to jump on to asking you, what does everybody understand or know about the term globalization? Anyone want to input before I give my definition? No? So globalization, what do we think the term stands for, or what do you think it means, or what do you understand by it? If you would like to type it up in the chat window, it's absolutely fine for me. Right, I'm not hearing lots of yeses and nos. So does that mean, are we stuck or we can't hear me? I'm going to try typing something into the chat window. Can somebody reply back to me so I know that everybody's still there?
Hi, I can't access the chat window, but
Okay, I've just typed globalization in the meeting chat window. Can you just see? Yep, that's fine. So I've got somebody saying interaction among different countries. Well done. Could I have a bit more? Can somebody else give me a definition or what their thoughts on globalization? So definitely it's an interaction between world economies and countries. Anything else?
This
There's
is
so many of you.
the process. Can I say?
Yeah, yes, please, please.
So this is a process of mixing and merger of different cultures, religions, traditions, and nations.
Brilliant.
Is
I
that
love the word culture that you've put in there, because what happens is when people talk about globalization, they forget that when you are merging with countries, you're merging with the cultures, the different cultures that they are, the different languages that they are. Well done. Anyone else? So we've had,
Hello.
yep.
I think globalization is building relationships between countries for trade, goods and services, or just general security between in the world today.
Brilliant. So we've got building relationships, interaction, culture. I'm liking the 3 key words that have come up so far. Is it Alyssa? Alyssa? Have I pronounced that well? Somebody's putting their hand up.
Yeah, you pronounced it correctly. I think that globalization means that now, because of the rise of technology and fast transportation, companies and other governments influence the government's influence can not only be how to say felt by the on a national scale, but now also the international scale.
Excellent. So you've just introduced us to another concept, which you've said technology. So we've had 4 key words that are explaining globalization to us, but you all have explained it in your own ways. I'm really impressed with all of those key things. I'm going to quickly go to my PowerPoint where I've got my definition, which is in front of you. Okay, so I've got a couple of globalization is a process by which economies and cultures, which we've already said, have been drawn deeper together and become more interconnected. Okay, through trade, which we've already mentioned. Okay, what we didn't mention is the capital flow. Is everybody okay with the word capital? Do we know what it means? Any of you? Do we understand the word capital?
Does capital mean money?
Money, right? So money. So that's the most important thing. The reason why globalization is happening is because we want the money to flow around the world so that every country has an equal opportunity. Everyone has a chance to secure money, to make money. And I've got some brilliant stuff coming over. Vishnu said investment flow. Yes, exactly. So if there is flow of money around the world economies, you are going to be attracting investment into your countries. So wherever you are in the world, there will be a level of investment. Okay, excellent. Like for the UK, we have a big financial sector. That's where we make our money. And therefore, we attract other nations to come and do their banking and to get involved in our financial industry. Okay, so that's the form of globalization for us. Okay, that impacts us. Right, let's go back to the definition again. So we've got capital flow and the rapid spread of technology and global media. So you're all aware that we've got this lovely social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all of these platforms are being used by these companies to connect, to communicate, to market. So we are now one global world where money is flowing left and right, and we've got businesses setting up everywhere. Okay, so that's globalization. Is there any questions on the definition or on the term before we move on? I assume the silent is a no, so I can move on.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Right, okay, so we've done the warm up. So we've had lots of words come to our mind, and we've thought about them and we've linked them with globalization. Okay, now I'm going to challenge you a bit further. What I would like you to do is I want you to think of a form of globalization in your chosen country or in your country. Like I'm at the moment, I'm in the UK, so I've already mentioned an example for us, which is the financial sector. Okay, so can I give you 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes to think of an example in your chosen country? Okay, and then everybody can share them on our chat window, or if you want to talk to me, even better. So 2 to 3 minutes, and I will stop you guys around about 3 minutes past 11 on my clock, okay? So if you could think of an example of globalization of any company that's in your country or in your chosen country. So I can give you another example before you move on. So I've said finance sector. I want to give you another. Starbucks. You will find a Starbucks in most countries. So that's an example of globalization for a business. So 3 minutes. Right, I've got two examples already that are on my chat window. So I've got education and McDonald's, like brilliant. So McDonald's and education, definitely an example where globalization is aiding these companies or that sector to expand. Any others?
K-pop.
As in music?
Yes, and also Korean culture in general. I feel that it has been widely spread in recent years.
Yep. And so do you think the music element, the hip hop music is bringing us together, and people are producing in that sector, making money? Yes.
Yes.
A really good example. Thank you for sharing that.
Well, our lesson is an example of globalization.
Excellent. And that can go back to Vishnu said education as a example. Yes, we are definitely, this is a real life example of globalization. Well done.
And
okay.
Can I continue?
Yes, please.
So the example of globalization is that if I come to, I don't know, America, UK, and I meet a 16-year-old teenager, probably we're going to listen to the same music, we'll play the same computer games, we'll speak about the same issues. That's what globalization is. People from different continents understand each other.
Good. And then different people from different continents also follow the same fashion now because of our lovely Instagram and things like that. We follow the same fashion, same music, maybe same food. Okay. So excellent. Thank you for sharing that. Sorry, I will be quiet.
I think another example is work or labor, because lots of people migrate to other places to find jobs. Or there, for example, I'm from the Philippines, so there's a lot of overseas Filipino workers who provide for their families as nurses or as doctors in other places of the world.
Brilliant. Okay, that's a really good example again. Okay, and that's been applied to your own country. I'm impressed. Some other examples. We've got a lot of people that are still quiet. Okay, I've got some stuff in the chat window. I've got Apple, 100%. Apple has brought the world together, because I can tell you, not on top of the percentage wise, if I was in a classroom now, I think probably 70% of us will have Apple gadgets or Apple phones over other choices. Okay. Some kind of mask producing companies, yes, companies that are producing masks at the moment, and we're buying them on Amazon, okay, is a form of globalization. Amazon itself as a platform is a form of globalization, okay. And then we've got World Factories. China is connecting the whole world, okay. Definitely, it's been the manufacturing hub of the world, okay. And multinational companies, Intel, for example, in Malaysia, another applied example of globalization. Another thing that's been said on the chat window is medical. Do you think medicine is advancing because of globalization? The medical field? Anyone?
Yes, I think so, especially with COVID-19 right now.
Yeah.
Because we are so desperate for a vaccine, the constant updates from these researchers and scientists will really help the speed up of the process of finding a cure.
Yep, exactly. Right, definitely. With the vaccine development, we're all going to come together as a global world to fight against this pandemic. and to produce a vaccine. Brilliant. So we've got some excellent examples there. I'm going to go on to the next slide. Can everybody see the pictures? So I've got 3 pictures there. Okay. And I would like you to identify what type of globalization is happening in each picture. Okay. And expand on those type of globalization. Okay. So give me the example. Tell me what's happening in the picture and the impacts of that type of globalization. So we've already discussed some of them. Okay. Would anybody like to go for the first picture? And if you would like to, again, if you're not comfortable speaking out, we can write on the chat window. So you could look at the first picture. What form of globalization is happening there and the impacts of it? Okay. So Vishnu said packaging. What do you mean by packaging? Could you elaborate on that? Is it just packaging or is it something else? What else do we see in the picture?
Production.
Production, okay. And we have just recently, a minute ago, spoke about production and manufacturing. Which country is producing or manufacturing? Which country did we mention?
China.
China, excellent. Okay, so we can say that the picture can be related to countries like China or even India or even Turkey, because these are the places that manufacture goods and clothes and so forth. How many of you shop at Zara, which is another global brand? Any hands up? How many of you have heard of the store Zara or shop there? Yes, Steffi said she shops there. I can't even speak today. Shops there. Okay. So when I shop at Zara, I always look at the labels of which country my clothing is made in. And sometimes it's Vietnam, sometimes it's India, sometimes it's Turkey. And so all of these places are producing these clothes for Zara. Okay. So next time when you go shopping to Zara or Mango or H&M, these are all global brands and they're in most countries. Check the labels to see where that piece of clothing has been made. And that's a form or an example of globalization. Right, second picture. We've got those high-rise buildings. What do you think that is? What type of globalization is that?
Tourism.
Tourism, okay. Why would you say tourism? Expand on that.
I think the picture is featuring a hotel, and
Okay.
with the rise of tourism, tourists need a place to stay. So that gives companies and the government to give companies incentive to build these hotels to accommodate all the tourists coming in.
Excellent. Okay, so we're going to say tourism, right? So we can say these buildings can represent hotels, or they can be flats for people that are working in those countries. So what type of which country do you think makes majority of their money from tourism? Or which cities or countries?
France.
Dubai.
Dubai. Okay, excellent. Dubai is a good example. Okay. Any other examples of where you can find lots of hotels or Airbnbs or places to rent for a holiday?
The Maldives.
Maldives. Okay, I can give you an example. LA, right? So LA is a place where there's plenty of Airbnbs and hotels, and you can rent out homes. Okay, any others? Any other people that would like to take part? Any other examples of countries? Because I don't know which countries all of you belong to. I only know your names. So any in your countries, if Sri Lanka, thank you for that. Okay, Sri Lanka is a place where it's run, or is the money is formed from within using tourism as a tool to attract money and probably even investment by hotels. Okay, so good. And I've got Maldives here in the chat window. Thailand. Okay, right, fine. Okay, good destination for holidays. I'm going to go on to our last picture. Okay, what do we understand by our last picture?
Shipping.
Shipping. Okay, so why do you think shipping is important, and how does it even like correlate or interlink with globalization? How do we interlink shipping and globalization?
I think because transportation is so accessible nowadays, that they use a lot of cargo ships and planes to be able to transport commercial goods. So we have Amazon, which can send goods basically almost anywhere, and other companies as well can send to their branches in other countries and the rest.
Excellent. Okay, so shipping, logistics, very important, especially at this moment of time in our lives. Okay, we need to get our food or medicine shipped, and obviously, shipping and logistics companies are going to formulate at the heart of that. Okay, so what I would like us to do now is I'm going to extend the task a bit further. Okay, I would like you to think of 3 positives and 3 negatives of globalization. Okay, I would like you to write them down either on a Word document or in the chat window or on a notebook, wherever you're comfortable. So 3 positives and 3 negatives of globalization. You can do them for your own country, okay, the country that you're in at the moment, okay, and then after 5 minutes or so, I think 5 minutes might be too much, but I'm going to give you 5 minutes, okay. We will have a chat and a discussion, and I would like everybody to join in. Don't be shy, okay? It's a wonderful topic, globalization, and there's so much to talk about. The 3 positives and 3 negatives. Does everybody understand by what I mean by positive and negative? Any questions on that? So positive could be advantage, negative could be disadvantage, okay? So on my clock, I'm going to give you 5 minutes just to write 3 down. Thank you. And if anybody does get stuck, please ask me. Right, I can see 2 people have written some really good things. Vishnu's given some really nice, good negatives. Right, we have 2 more minutes, and I would like to see some other people joining in.
I have problems with the chat. I can neither write nor read anything.
Okay, so you can talk to us. That'll be even better.
Yeah, I can.
Excellent. I like talking anyway, so the writing is a bit, then I have to repeat it to everybody. Right, so I've got some people here that haven't said anything. Melvin, I've got, is it Darren? And I might be pronouncing your names wrong. Tracy, and I apologize for that. So, and I've got another V, somebody called V. Keaton. Right, so everybody join in to see the positives and negatives. Thank you, Steffi, for your wonderful positives and negatives.
Hi, I can't access the chat function,
That's
but
fine.
don't mind reading it out later
Yeah,
on.
please. We can all chat. That's not a problem. Right, I'm going to give you another 30 seconds and then we can start talking. Just to get everybody involved. Right, okay. So I've got plenty of stuff, plenty of material on our meeting chat window. Okay, and I know some people can't see it. That's not, that's totally fine. We will chat and discuss them. Okay. Right. Would anybody like to give me a positive? So we're looking for 3 positives for positives of globalization. Any would like to talk?
Some
Pardon?
countries. Can I say?
Income, did you say?
No, I say some countries are getting humanitarian aid now during the epidemic.
Right. Okay. So you think that's a positive?
Yeah, of course it is.
Okay. Brilliant. What else? Any other positives? I've got. Then I can start reading them. Would anybody like to join in and tell them verbally? Steffi, would you like to talk?
Sure. For the positive.
Yes, please.
Okay, so I wrote easily accessible goods because some countries have certain finite resources such as oil or steel, but they can't get other resources like advanced technology or whatnot. So with globalization, they can easily trade for those resources. And in a sense, it also helps them become more developed if they're more of a low income or underdeveloped country. And more than that, it can also provide financial support for the developing countries, especially if they're in debt or if their GDP isn't doing well. Free trade agreements or being part of international organizations can help them boost their wealth or boost their investments at least.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. I'm going to read a positive of some of the lists. So Steffi, you've also said brain drain, which is a really advanced word we use at A level. Okay, so brain drain is migration of workers. Okay, Steffi, did you want to expand on that?
Okay.
Probably give an example maybe for people.
In the Philippines, brain drain has been talked about a lot because we have a large amount of overseas Filipino workers or OFWs. So what happens there is where a lot of the more educated or more experienced workers or specialized workers like doctors or engineers opt to go abroad for better opportunities and higher salaries to provide for their families. And in a sense, it leaves the country or leaves the Philippines with a scarcity of those said workers for jobs in the Philippines itself.
Thank you, Steffi. Excellent. Well, really well put. I'm going to read a couple of, so Vanessa said positives, reduction of cultural barriers. Okay, so we all are wearing and eating the same type of food, wearing the same type of fashion. Okay, then I've got another positive here. Vishnu has said more trade. Excellent. Globalization was formed, put in place so that we could have more trade, more opportunity for the younger generations. Okay. Vishnu's also said free labor movement. Okay, so again, if you are part of a trading block, you can basically trade labor easily without any barriers. And when the UK was part of the EU, again, we could easily attract and have a free flow of people working in the UK and us going out to other European countries. Okay, but that's a topic for another day. So then can we go on to looking at, there's another positive here. Melvin said, share scientific research. Okay, and advancement in technology, okay, and connectivity, right? Excellent. So if there is globalization, we can now come together and use those scientific knowledge or technology to advance further. Okay, let me see if I missed anybody else. Oh, yes. Isla, it said positive economical influence. Okay, so exactly, if there is globalization, it will work in your positive way and influence countries in a positive manner. Let's go on to the negatives now. Okay, because I'm looking at the clock and we're running out of time and I want to talk to you further. Right, so negatives. Anyone want to add negatives before I start discussing the negatives from the chat window?
We are getting further from our own traditions.
Okay.
We forget our origins, our
yeah. Definitely, I agree with that. Okay, so the movement or getting away from your own culture, your authenticity, right? So that is a problem of that is being caused by globalization. Some countries are becoming far too modern. Some countries are consuming more Coke in comparison to drinking water because Coke is actually much cheaper in some African countries. So the cultural aspect of it, okay. Other things, other negatives. So I've got Vishnu's got has he got any negatives? Nope, I've mentioned his negatives. Any other negatives, guys?
Can one of the negatives be competition for jobs?
Yes, definitely. Okay, because we are a global world, we are competing against more people. So by the time you guys graduate and get your masters, it will be a bit more, the competition is going to be higher for you to get the better jobs, or the jobs that are in different countries. There'll be more people applying to it. Okay, I've got another. Vanessa said greater risk of disease. Okay, yes, you can say that because of globalization, we can say COVID-19 has traveled to certain countries at a faster rate. Because we travel so much, it's basically affected the global markets, the global world. Okay, any other negatives? Negatives are much harder to do than the positives, as you can tell, right? So we've got cultural, travel or disease, we've got competition for jobs. Any other negatives? Can we all understand each other? Do you think another negative could be a language barrier? Yes or no?
I don't think so. I think nowadays, if you see a post online that you don't understand, you can easily Google translate it into your native tongue.
Yeah, you can. You can Google Translate. You can even get the translator on your phone. If you're talking to somebody and they don't understand, you can translate on your phone, which is good, which is all advancements through technology. Okay, so you can see that the world is becoming a much powerful place in terms of business, in terms of technology, and globalization is rapidly expanding by the second, okay, because there's so many new things out there in the world. Okay, right. What about, does everybody understand the term inequality? Can we say that globalization, this is the last thing, last negative, can lead to inequality?
No.
No? Do you think
it's yeah, on the contrary, people become equal.
Okay. So you think people will have equal opportunity to earn more money?
Yes.
Okay. So you've turned that into a positive. Well done. That's your view. Okay. And somebody else was going to say something.
I'm sorry, but I don't really agree. I feel that with globalization, inequality has only increased because now, especially in this job climate, those who are able to get a job have to be educated. And if you don't, if you're not born into a family that can provide you with a good education, you cannot compete with the competition today.
Okay. Brilliant. So inequality can arise because of globalization, because it depends on your background, your level of education, whether you have the wealth, okay, or the income to actually do those jobs. So jobs can move to places like India, China, Philippines, everywhere like that. But again, if people have got the education, they will be able to get those jobs. But if you don't have the education, you might not benefit from that form of globalization. Okay, so that could give rise to inequality. But on the other hand, it can basically bring equality on a global basis. Everybody's got the same opportunity around the globe. So it depends on how you see that. Okay, well done. Thank you for sharing those wonderful thoughts on positives and negatives. We're going to sum up, wrap everything up now. Okay, so I already know your thoughts. We've already answered that question. Okay, how do you think, last thing, how do you think globalization has been impacted by our recent COVID-19 or the pandemic that's going on in the world? What are your thoughts? Do you think COVID has affected globalization? Do you think it's going to slow it down, stop it, aid it further? What do you think? Last thing. And I'll give you a couple of minutes to think, but if you want to talk, that's absolutely fine.
Probably the process of globalization will go slower.
Okay.
Because now all the borders are closed.
Excellent.
We can't go anywhere on vacations, and I think in next like 2 years, but no, a year, we're gonna be all apart.
Okay, so you think in 2 years' time, because the borders have gone tighter, they've gone stricter, we're gonna see the consequences in a couple of years' time. So it's gonna
in the cultural sense, the globalization will be slower, but in the political, it will go faster. We will help each other. We will share our researches about COVID-19.
Okay, brilliant. Okay. On the other hand, I've got Ayla said yes. She said it's the global problem and everybody has to work together. Okay, so globalization could either come down, as we've just said, because of the borders, or it could go up because everybody wants to join forces and get rid of this virus. Okay, because it's really important, because it's actually slowing our economies down. Okay, it is working. It's also it has a positive impact. It's bringing communities together. Okay, people are becoming more grateful for the resources that they have in their individual countries, but it's also taking us apart. Okay, which will have a negative impact on globalization. Any other thoughts? Let's have a look at the chat window. Is anybody writing anything? Right. Vanessa said, I believe COVID will slow down the process of globalization. Okay, see more. Okay, right. So because of political issues, looking at the protectionism that, especially led by presidents like Trump in the US, he is closing borders down. He's protecting his economy, protecting how he's doing business with other economies. Well done. Okay. We've got Vishnu saying more companies are figuring out how to work online. So there's newer opportunities. Excellent. Okay. Because of COVID, lots of colleges and universities have gone online. Therefore, we are opening to a wider global market. Okay. And we can attract people from other countries that can come and study and expand their knowledge base. And this is because of the COVID-19. Okay. So anything else? Anything else to add in before we wrap everything up? Right, I assume the silence is a no. Okay, I apologize if I'm rushing you. Okay, I'm just looking at the time, and I want to give you some time just to ask me any other questions. Okay, so I'm just going to give you the last 5 minutes of our session to ask me any questions in regards to economics, GCSE syllabus or the course. Okay, any thoughts or any worries, whatever you have in your mind, please ask me now so I can answer them to the best of my potential. And I hope you enjoyed my session on globalization. Just to give you, this was just a flavor of what we might be studying at in our GCSE course in September. Any questions, guys?
Hi, can you recommend any books on economics?
Right. So I personally feel at your level, if you want to get drawn to the subject and attracted to the subject, I would just go onto the Economist website, and they basically have all of the articles online. Okay, and you can filter those articles out. So start with the Economist or the Financial Times before jumping onto the books. But for books wise, you can go on. You can look at the OCR or what do you call it, AQA related textbooks. They will be quite good to read. But at your level, I would definitely start with The Economist. So if you go onto the website, and I can put that up in the chat window, because if you start reading books, it might basically put you off the subject, because there are a lot of difficult concepts that are addressed in books and so forth. So The Economist to begin with, Alyssa, if that's fine. Okay, so I've got a question here. Do you think that globalization is important in business? Talking not only about bigger companies, right? So yes, globalization is important for businesses, even for smaller businesses. So if you live like in countries or in places like, I don't know, Madrid or Malta, or I can't think of what do you call it, Verona, anywhere, any places, and you've got a tourist hub and you attract your income through tourism, globalization will be important for you, because people, when they eat at your restaurants or drink coffee at your cafes or have gelatos at the ice cream parlors, they will be able to write reviews, okay, on for you, which will attract people to come to you, and you can expand your businesses. Also, the world of Instagram, bloggers and so forth, okay, when they travel in this global world, they basically market as they go along, wherever they eat, the products they buy in certain countries. So that's happening because of globalization, okay? And that's why globalization is important for small businesses and for larger businesses, and it's equally important, and we can use it to our benefit. Okay, I've got another question here. Can I do economics at A level if didn't take for IGCSE? Yes, you can definitely do economics A level, even if you haven't done the IGCSE or the GCSE. But if you do the IGCSE or the GCSE, you get a background check on the subject. You will know things like supply and demand, elasticities, market structures. You will already have the foundation in the subject. Therefore, that's why I suggest, if you've got the opportunity, definitely do the GCSE economics course and then go on to A level. Okay, but if you don't do it that way, it's absolutely fine, but it will just work in your favor, especially in terms of terminology and things like that. I hope I've answered your question there, Vishnu. Right, I've got another one. What economic topics or news do you recommend following and learning about? Okay, so my personal favorites, okay, I can tell you what I read about a lot is emerging economies, and I'm going to put that on the chat window again. Emerging economies. Okay, I'm really passionate about looking at developing countries, emerging economies, how globalization is affecting them. Sustainability is another area that you can look at. Okay. And then you can look at other topics such as financial markets if you are interested in the banking sector. And there's a market structures, how markets work in different economies. But emerging economies is definitely an interesting part, especially if you are living in countries like Thailand or Philippines or Mexico. If you're based in Turkey, it'll be good for you to study and look at how the world economies are affecting your economy and how it's actually pushing development at a further stage. Okay, so that's one for you, Steffi. Any other questions, guys? There are a few quiet individuals in here. Please do ask me any questions. You do not want to go away with regrets that you didn't ask me a question in regards to the course or economics in general. Right, I think everybody stopped talking and stopped typing. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was such a really good, informative, really great session. Thank you so much, Rajpreet.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you all to those that have joined today as well. If you do have any questions that you can't think of at the moment and would like to ask later, then do email us, international@mpw.ac.uk, and we're here to support you with anything moving forward. But for now, thank you so much. Yeah, Rajpreet, if there's anything you'd like to close off or sign off with, that's it really.
I would just like to say, if there's any other questions, feel free to email, and you can send the emails over to me and I'm more than happy to answer them. That's not a problem in regards to the subject.
Lovely, perfect. Thank you so much. So that's it for today, and stay safe, take care, bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.